Hi you guys, it's Amy Gretchen. Welcome to my December daily process video. Now if you saw my video on the supplies I'm going to be using, I mentioned that I am not doing foundation pages, and that's true. So you're not going to be seeing me work on my foundation pages or even doing a flip through of my foundation pages in this video. What I'm going to be doing is just showing you the process of the beginning of my album, the first bit of my album. So I'm going to work through that with you and just kind of show you some of the thoughts that I'm having of how to begin this album, setting an intention or my reason why. That's something that I'm definitely going to be writing out as well. Okay, so let me just show you some of the stuff that I am planning on using. I've got this star. And when I first saw it, my first thought that I had was I want to put this in the very beginning of the book. Now I've debated about using it so much because Ali Edwards used it as well, and I was thinking of doing a very similar treatment, which is to emboss it. So I've struggled a little bit with that decision, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it anyway. I just got some page protectors. I want to show you some things that I've worked on while I, off camera. So I made this, I really wanted to have a calendar, and my thought process was what I'm going to do is my book is going to be full of stories from December and moments and more. It's going to be more feeling type. I mean, there will be some events in here, but my journaling is going to be very feeling. It's going to go that direction. So I was thinking that I would do a calendar and I would fill it in with all the events. So every day I would write down like one of the main things happened. If there's a party going on that day, or let's say we delivered gifts to our friends, or, on the 9th, our Christmas card went out, just little things like that throughout the year, because a lot of my everyday stuff I do put into my project life. So I don't feel like I need to put it in to my December daily album. Then I have this cut file that I told you about in the supplies. This came from One Little Bird. Love this, absolutely beautiful. And I hadn't intentionally put it, I wasn't sure that I'm going to have these back to back, but once I put them in the album, I thought it was really beautiful. So I don't know if that's how it's going to end up, but like I said, I'm just going to be gathering my supplies and going through a lot of the stuff that I love and putting it in the album so I make sure and actually use it. The other thing that I've been working on is this file. Now I should tell you this December, this file right here. So I made this calendar in InDesign. And you guys, if you want a tutorial on this, I actually did a tutorial as I made it. I don't think the video is awesome, but if you are interested in how I made this, because you could use this for so many things and make it whatever size that you would want. But this file right here came from Paisley Press, and this one too, I believe it is the one from last year, which is December, You Are My Fave #4. This album I want to be very clean, very classic, and very simple. So I thought that I'd start out that way. This is also a file that comes with that set, and I am working on, so my idea then is to have this on a transparency, some type of transparency, and then this was going to go in on the inside here. Now, I've had some thoughts about making this the transparency and having this sit on top of it, but then I found this really great text that also comes, I didn't find it, it also comes with the digital files with December, You Are My Fave #4 from Paisley Press. And I thought it would be cool to make it a little bit bigger, have this star in the middle, and then when you flip it open, you're going to see Let Your Heart Be Joyful. And you'll see that this is basically my reason why for the year. In my journaling, I talk about ways that I want to feel joy during this holiday season. So these are just some of the stuff that you'll see me work through. And so let's just go ahead and get started with some of the fun, messy stuff.
Okay, you guys, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to emboss this star, and I've got the gold and the red glitter emboss from Zinc, and I'm trying to decide which one I want to use. It's been a while since I've used those, and I'm not quite sure, can't remember like what exactly they're going to look like. So I decided to pull over this Believe stamp. It seemed kind of Christmassy, and I'm getting out my Versamark ink, which is a sticky ink, which is going to allow that powder to stick to the stamped area. And then I'm going to pull over my heat tool, and I'm going to heat that embossing powder, and it's going to melt, and it's going to create this beautiful color. You can kind of see how it brightens up a little bit as it melts. So I did the red, and now I'm going to go through the same exact steps, and I'm going to do the gold. And you'll see how dull the gold looks until I put the heat on it. And then it really brightens up when it melts. And I actually really loved the way it brightened up. So I decided to go with the gold. I was thinking about the red because, as you'll see later, I kind of use a little bit more. I'm using some red ink and stuff, but I decided to go with the gold because it was just so shiny and pretty. So that's what I ended up doing. And then because it gets a little messy, I end up having to get another piece of paper, and then you can see how it just comes to life. And I absolutely love it. Like watching it now, it's like exciting for me. It's one of those fun parts of crafting, the messy parts that I actually really, really love. And I don't feel like I do it as much as I should because I do more project life stuff where the cards are already made. But this is just a reminder to me that I need to be, getting messy and working with more of these supplies. So that's how I did my star. So I'm pulling out some of this acetate or transparency paper. That's what I want the star to sit on. And that's what I said at the beginning. And I actually really liked the gold a lot, but I felt like gold on gold, I just wasn't too sure. I really did like it against the white. The acetate that actually comes in the Ali Edwards kit, I didn't love as much with it because you could hardly see the white stars. So I have this crazy idea that I'm going to pull over. I grabbed some of my transparency paper. Well, I'm thinking about like ink, and I'm looking through some of my stencils, but I don't have a stencil that will work. They're all 6x6, and it would have just been too big of a mess. So I pull out my transparency paper, and I think, I'm going to make my own transparency paper. So I take it over to my computer, and I do all these stars, and I make them red, and I print them out. Unfortunately, my printer did not have a transparency setting, and so I wasn't able to do that. And so the ink on the transparency was still kind of wet, so I wasn't able to do it. So what I ended up doing is grabbing this, let's see, this is a Bella Boulevard. And I liked it more because it had more stars. So even though it was white, it had more stars so you could see it a little bit better. So I decided to go ahead and use that. And still in the back of my head, I was like, maybe I'll check out the red if it dries, and we'll see how that works out instead. But I just wasn't able to use it right away. And you know how it is when you're crafting and you're impatient. So I just wanted to keep going with the project. So I wrote out the reason why, and I'm just cutting that up. And then I also printed out that print. I'm using Epson presentation paper, and I used an artisan printer. I can't remember the exact one, but I'll put it in the description below. And I love it. Just printed absolutely beautiful because there was some gray parts that my laser printer wasn't able to get. I thought it printed so beautiful on the presentation paper. So I would definitely encourage you to use papers that work, for projects like this, papers that work with your printer so you can get a really beautiful print. So I'm just making now using the plastic as the pattern for my holes, the page protector, and then I'm making the holes with my, what's it called? With the hole punch. I'll put it in the description. So I have this tape. It's called Sure Score tape or something like that. And I'm using that instead of the red line tape. I can't remember if I was out or not. I couldn't find it. So I just grabbed this instead and it works fine. It was a fourth of an inch, so it's a little too big. I thought that I had an eighth of an inch, but I couldn't find it. So I just cut it down and I tried using the regular scissors, but it was just everything was sticking to it. So I decided to use these Tim Holtz stickers that are nothing is supposed to stick to it. And it's true. I'm able to cut the tape and the tape isn't trying to stick to the scissors. So that's another really great tool to have on hand. He also has a big set that's I think maybe an 8-inch scissors. I can't remember how big this one is, but obviously it's a little bit smaller. So I'm sticking this on and I realized I stuck it down the wrong way. Like I wanted this other part to be top. So it was longer than it was skinnier or than it was wide, but I lifted it up and I decided, I actually did like it that way. So it was kind of a happy accident. So I love it. That's awesome when that happens. So I'm pulling out this page protector and I'm trying to cut it. That guillotine is not good for plastic. And I've done that before. And once I did it, I was like, oh yeah. So I took it over to my bigger cutter, which is just too big to put onto the screen. And then, I stuck in my journaling for the reason why, and then I'm going to make another little card for this, but I'm using it's not acetate, it's actually leftover, like when I've used a page protector and I've cut it like I just did, then I've used some of the leftover pages or pockets so that I can use them for things like this. So I'm sticking the stickers right on it, and then I'm putting that right into the slot. So that way I'm able to, get this see-through feel with those letters. And I absolutely love the way that looked. And I loved having that red joy and then the red on the reason why. So I was kind of looking through some of my cards. I did that. I didn't do that off camera, but I decided not to share it because it was getting a little long. And I was just looking through some things that I thought might work well in that pocket because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And maybe I'll end up doing that for my story number 1 and I'll change that pocket. I'm just not sure what I'm going to do. Just playing around for now. So this, I pulled over this twine, or I guess it's trimming, and I'm going to put it on the edge, and I'm just trying to decide if I like it. And it's interesting. You'll see that I put it on and I mess with it a little bit and try to decide what I think. I'm using again the same score tape that you saw me, that I had to cut it off a little bit. And one thing that I will mention, when I cut that page protector, I made it just a little bit bigger because I was thinking that I was going to use this trim. So I'm putting on this trim and I like it. I really do like it. I was thinking it was maybe a little too red. And so I kept trying to decide if I liked it or not. And I think it's really cute, but I end up taking it off. And now it's interesting when I'm watching this video, I'm like, I really do like it. Why did I take it off? But I think I just wasn't 100% sure. And I tend to, I don't know. I don't, sometimes I can make decisions very quick and very easily, and sometimes it's hard for me. So what I decided to do is I wanted to see what it would look like if I added just one of those Avery tabs. And so I started to make that, and I grabbed over the Allie Edwards. I can't remember exactly what this stamp set is called, but it is on her blog with all of her December daily supplies. And there was one that said the reason why. And I was like, oh, that could have worked really well for that other card that I pulled out. So because I was thinking maybe that was just a little too much red with the trim. So I was like, what if I use that card instead? So I was thinking about maybe transferring that card, but so I end up stamping the reason why, and I can't remember what I stamped on the other side, but that's what I'm putting in the little tab. And oh, you can see that I want to try putting the reason why in red. And I just, I'm very curious to see what that would look like. But after looking at it, I decided that I did want to keep the reason why. But I thought that may be a really great idea to do like coming up somewhere in my book. So I finished off the tab and I'm sticking it in. And like I said, now looking at it, I'm not entirely sure that is the way I'm going to go. You can see that I end up like pulling up the trim to see if that I will add both. So that might end up changing as the month goes on. I'm just going to have to see how I feel, because I'm definitely going to use the trim probably in that fashion, but I'm just not sure exactly when. Anyway, you guys, this is how I am beginning my December daily album. I really hope to do more process videos as the months are going on, but I definitely do not work on this project on a daily basis, so we'll just have to see how it goes. But thank you so much for being with me, and I hope you guys have an awesome holiday season. All right, you guys, we will catch you next time. Bye.